All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Thank y'all so much for coming over. We're back on the Law and Crime Network channel. It says P. Diddy jury begins deliberations in ST trial. Look, man, again, I'm going to just say it. I feel like he's going to be convicted on something. What that is, I don't know. But we all are just speculating and guessing, until that jury says whatever their verdict is going to be. We don't know. But shout out to the Law and Crime Channel Network. I'll leave the full video in the description just in case I have to trim out anything. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to our continued live coverage of the Sean Diddy Combs federal trial out of New York. We are officially in verdict watch right now in the trial. So jurors were sent back to deliberate a short time ago. This was after they were read the jury instructions in this case, the lengthy jury instructions in this case. Remember, this is basically the law that they're going to follow. I want to give you a little bit of an update on what they were read and why it's so significant moving into this. But I do want to let you know that for the next 2 hours, we are going to be taking your questions about this case as we wait for a jury verdict. Probably unlikely they're going to come back today with a verdict, but who knows? I've been shocked before, could be shocked again. So we're also going to
What they say is it can be good or bad when the jury has reached a verdict. Boy, if there's a verdict today, hoo-wee, people gonna be on the edge of their seats.
We're going to take your questions, submit them, we'll answer them. I have an all-star panel with me to go through it all, but I want to let you know about what's going on with these jury instructions. So, of course, the Judge Arun Subramanian, went through all of the elements of all of the charges, but arguably the most complex is racketeering conspiracy. And for instance, the judge said the government is going to have to prove that there was a mutual understanding to cooperate in a criminal enterprise, one that the government says that Sean Combs led. They can infer that. Actions speak louder than words because you're not going to have, an example. By the way, this is a shot of what the jury deliberation room looks like, because you're not going to have them all, evidence of them all signing a contract to engage in or agree to engage in criminal activity. Was there an inferred agreement? And this was really interesting, talking about the 8 underlying predicate crimes that the government has to prove at least 2 within a 10-year time frame. And I thought this was interesting. I want to call this out. The judge said that witnesses who were given immunity in this case, they should be examined with greater care than ordinary witnesses. We know that there were a number of witnesses who testified under immunity.
Right.
That witnesses who were permitted to testify under pseudonyms, for example, Mia, for example, Jane, that bears on your evaluation of their credibility. That the defendant had no responsibility to testify. You can't attach any significance to that. In other words, because Sean Combs chose not to testify, you can't use that against him. This was interesting as well. Voluntary intoxication may actually negate the intent requirement of the RICO predicates. We'll talk about what that means. Uncalled witnesses. For example, Christina Quorum, whose name came up, I don't know, every single day with almost every single witness. These people who were mentioned but never called as witnesses, each side could have called them. That's what the judge said. Don't speculate or consider this. And then finally, when they were sent back to deliberate, the judge said, the schedule is your own. You're going to be provided meals. They've begun their deliberations. And if they want to continue past 5 p.m., they may be able to do so. We're going to keep a very careful eye out and ear out if we get any juror questions or what's going to happen. But right now, I want to take your questions. So I am joined right now by celebrity criminal defense attorney from McMonigle, Perry, McHugh, Meshach, and Davis. Brian McMonigle is with us. We're also joined by criminal defense attorney Mauricio Padilla and Law and Crime's very own host of Scandal outside of the federal courthouse right now, Sierra Gillespie. It's great to have you all here. I said all-star panel. I wasn't lying. Sierra, I'm going to start with you because we got a super chat question from Diana YX3GU.
Hold on one second. I just want, that's a 340 mark. I just want to see, is Elizabeth going to pop up in the video? Okay, she's not in it. I just want to see because that would have given me an idea if she came out the courthouse. Let's see.
So much for the super chat question. Does the jury return home at the end of the day, or are they sequestered in a hotel? What do we know, Sierra?
This is a really great question, because especially when it comes to a trial like this where so much is on the line, huge stakes for P. Diddy. I mean, if he's convicted, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars in prison. So we want to make sure the jury is paramount. So that is a question. Could they be sequestered? Will they, won't they? And the answer is they will not be. They were not. So every night after, the whatever happened in the courthouse behind me, they listened to all the testimony, went through the evidence, wrote in their notebooks, and then got on the subway, took a train or an Uber, walked home wherever they went, and that was their night. So over the weekend, this is something I've been thinking.
Boy, I'm just, again, we don't know who's on that jury, but I'm just hoping that they're protected, man. That's all I can say is I hope that they're protected.
A lot about Jesse. Over the weekend, after we heard closings from both sides and the rebuttal, they went back home to wherever they're going. So to me, I'm thinking it's got to be going through their minds, right? They're going to be thinking about what they heard on Friday, and really throughout the entire case so far. I'm sure it's kind of been in their minds as they're leading into the deliberation. And as it continues, by the way, they'll still go home tonight once everything's finished. If we're still deliberating tomorrow, or they're still deliberating tomorrow, I should say, they'll go home. No need to stay in a hotel or be sequestered.
Yeah, if I had to take a guess, unless they were close to a verdict today, I think they're going to want to go home by 5 o'clock. I don't believe that we're coming back with a verdict today. I think this case is so complicated. They have so much material to go through. I think this is going to take several days. Maybe we'll put up a poll. Maybe we have a poll up about how long we think the jury deliberation process is going to take. Let me bring back in Brian and Mauricio. Brian, you ready for this? We got a question from @Leon the Spesh One. I don't blame Leon the Spesh One asking this, but what's RICO? What's RICO, Brian?
Well, it's a statute that's existed for decades, and it was created to really shut down organized crime, but it requires precisely that: racketeering, a racketeering enterprise, a conspiracy to commit racketeering, and you need, as is reflected in the statute itself, a criminal enterprise. So the first thing the government has to prove that there was a criminal enterprise. The second thing they have to prove that criminal enterprise engaged in at least 2 predicate acts that had been highlighted in the indictment of the many that were highlighted. And they've got to prove those acts beyond a reasonable doubt in furtherance of the conspiracy, which is the racketeering. And if the government's able to do that, then this gentleman's going to spend a long time in prison. And if they're not, as I suspect they might not, he could be acquitted of these charges. But, it's interesting because this statute long ago was created to deter organized criminal activity. And now we're seeing it in cases like this with wealthy individuals who have the money and the means by which to get together with other people and sometimes commit criminal acts. So it'll be interesting.
Like, you could be doing so much more, so many good things in the world with your money, your fame, your fortune. And these are the things you choose to do. Like, it amazes me, like, with all the evil we got going on in the world. I mean, you just had that one sniper dude who, took out those 2 firefighters. Like, it's so much evil going on in the world. And you got people with all this money that add to it. You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me, man. Crazy. It's wicked times. Wicked times, man. In my 44 years of living, about to be 45, I've never seen this much consistency of just evilness in the world.
To me, it's a very significant test case for the racketeering statute.
I agree with you. Look, the prosecution's narrative is he had these assistants, he had these bodyguards, they knew exactly what was going on. They knew exactly what was happening behind closed doors. From defense's perspective, and we heard it from the defense's closing argument with Mark Agnifilo, who did he conspire with? You didn't hear one person talk about a criminal enterprise, say they were part of a criminal enterprise. Christina Coram, that's the co-conspirator. She's not a co-conspirator. And I think it was interesting because Mark Agnifilo had said, you know, if it was John Gotti and Sammy the Bull was the co-conspirator, you think people are calling Sammy up for help? I mean, because the idea was that the alleged victims were calling Christina Coram up for help. So it raised kind of an interesting question there. Mauricio, I go to you. We got a question from LaRob Show 6300. Question is he cooked on the Mann Act charge, so that's transportation to engage in, or does he have a shot? And overall, what's your gut feeling on the rest of the charges? More likely conviction or acquittal?
I'm thinking more likely conviction when it comes to the Mann Act of transporting, persons for the station. I don't know. I think they have them dead to rights. I've heard a lot of testimony about a lot of people that were directly engaged in it, and that came out through multiple witnesses. And I think it was something that he wasn't really worried about, because I don't think, and I've said this on various occasions, I don't think P. Diddy was as conscious as he should have been about the fact that a lot of the things that he was doing were illegal. So I know that there was a lot of testimony regarding airplane tickets, credit card charges, different.
Feeling invincible. Now, I said that. A lot of times when you're up here, you think you can't be touched. You know, when then you're brought down to everybody else's level, which is, just reality, things starts to set in. He's looking at it as like, I'm just out here having fun, doing this, doing that, but you're not really thinking about like the act as far as the law, like what you're doing. But again, when you're invincible and you think like, oh, I'm good, nothing's ever gonna happen, you continue to do things. I compared it to when I was working at Home Depot and people would steal, cashiers would steal money from the register. And they're doing this and they're like, oh, okay, this is like my 5th, 6th time. I ain't got caught yet. I'm good. Not knowing that they're waiting for it to add up to a certain amount so you can be charged for it. Yeah, so, hey, feeling comfortable, feeling invincible. And here we are.
Assistance that pay prostitutes to fly in from other states. So I think when it comes to that particular count, and I think it's a good question, I think they got them dead to rights on that one.
Yeah, and this is not to blame the defense, because I thought they did a really good job. They don't really have much of a defense to that. I mean, they can't argue that they weren't. That was abandoned, okay? And no, let me rephrase. That was excluded during jury instructions. It only matters if men were transported and there was a completed commercial. They can't argue that. And the idea, well, how is he supposed to know that's a crime? How is he supposed to know that's illegal? Feels a little bit of a stretch. Anyway, put that to the side, because again, you have the text messages, you have phone messages, you have Amex receipts. It's a problem for the defense there. Okay, Sierra, how about this? Got a question for Merlene Spies, 8354. Jesse, I've wondered about Diddy complained about the way Jane Rosenberg depicted him in drawings, the courtroom sketches. Did he have access to see the drawings? Because remember, she said he thought he looked like a koala bear, right?
Yes, that is what he said. I personally didn't see the whole koala bear thing, but I mean, you guys, we're all our own worst critics. So I'm sure that Diddy was looking at them under a finer tooth comb than you or I are looking at them. So yeah, Diddy definitely was able to see them. And I do think too, we saw some change in the style of these courtroom sketches after we heard that bit of a complaint. And I don't know, I think it just says something interesting about P. Diddy, that's also something he was concerned about during all of this. I know that his image is obviously very important to him. He's facing some pretty serious allegations, so I don't want to necessarily say that his image is completely tarnished, because again, these are allegations and innocent until proven guilty. But we have the civil side of things too, so he's had some pretty heavy allegations weighed against him, and one of the things that's important to him is how he looks in these courtroom sketches. I think it's interesting, but hey, I go back and look at these live streams and say, oh, my hair looks terrible, or my outfit was terrible, or whatever. So I can understand it in a way that he was upset about it. But yeah, he does have access, and he did see some of the courtroom sketches.
Yeah, somebody once took my teeth and put it on an animated orange. That was frightening to say the least. So we all.
Oh God.
Have been, yeah, it was. That was pretty scary. I tried not to think about that, but unfortunately.
All right. Like I said, they're just taking some questions right now. You know, they already in the beginning said about the deliberations and stuff, but I'm just trying to say, like, I got some more videos to get to. I don't know if I'm gonna have this video loaded before a verdict comes in. That'd be wild. But look, when that verdict comes in, I feel like a lot of people will be shocked by anything. I think people will be shocked if he's guilty, like, dang, what, they actually charged, you know? And then people will be shocked if it's not guilty. So, gotta wait and see. But I'm gonna try to stay close to this as possible when the news come out. You know, I will be leaving the house to go to the gym later on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I do like when they have questions come in because it'd be a lot of stuff that I'll be wanting to know too. I'm looking at a comment here, which is perfect. It says, his arrogance is quite staggering. Yeah. We'll see, man. Hey, appreciate y'all coming over and watching. Stay tuned. Peace out.